For many years, the Galactic Council watched a strange area of space with curiosity and fear. It was a large section of the Orion Arm filled with stars, planets, and resources, but no one went there. It was marked as human space. No law stopped anyone from entering. There were no warning satellites, no defensive lines, no patrol fleets. And still, no one crossed the border. Alien scientists and explorers spoke about it often. Why would every species in the galaxy avoid it? Even the Vokari, known for their fearlessness, and the Altherians, masters of stealth, stayed away. Something about human space made them nervous. The last time someone entered was over 50 years ago. A group of pirate scouts tried to sneak, and they were never heard from again. No distress signal, no wreckage, no survivors, just silence. Since that day, no other ship had dared cross the invisible line. The Council kept records of every incident. The silence around human space was not normal. It was planned, but no one could understand why or how the humans made it so. Earth was still a new member of the galactic community. They had not fought many wars, they had not conquered many worlds. But something about them made others stay away. Captain Lavara. Mitchell knew more than most. She worked on Outpost K-12, a quiet station floating near the edge of human space. Her job was to monitor signals, movements, and changes. Most days were boring, but she knew the truth behind the silence. She had read the restricted reports. She had seen what happened 50 years ago. One day, her screen blinked with a new signal. It was coming from Council space. A fleet was moving. Not just any fleet, a large one. 500 ships, all carrying diplomats, scientists, guards, and peace flags. The leader was Ambassador Torvik of the Jalari Dominion. Lavra leaned back in her chair. She felt a deep worry in her chest. "They're really doing it," she whispered. The fleet was not trying to sneak in. They sent messages ahead. They called it a diplomatic visit. They wanted to speak with humans and understand their silence. The Council had grown tired of waiting. They demanded answers. The Earth Defense Accord, or EGA, did not respond. No message came back. No warning, nothing. The alien fleet reached the edge of human space. They stopped. For one whole day they floated there, waiting. Lava watched it. All from her station. Her screen showed every ship, every name, every signal. Then the lead ship, called Unity's Light, began to move. The others followed. One by one, 500 ships crossed the invisible line. At first, nothing happened. But after a few minutes, strange things began to occur. Signals became weak. Star patterns around the ships changed. One ship's AI began speaking nonsense. Another lost all power and drifted. Captain Theron of the Arkan ship Fire Petal sent out a call. "We are seeing stranges in our sensors. Is this a trick?" No one answered. Then the fleet began to break apart. Ships were pulled away from each other. Some tried to turn around, but their systems failed. Others kept flying forward, deeper, into human space, as if something was pulling them. Inside Unity's Light, Ambassador Torvik stood frozen. His crew worked hard to fix the problems, but nothing helped. Their long-range scans stopped working. Their maps changed shape. It felt like the universe itself was twisting. Suddenly, a voice came through the radio. Calm, human. "This is Commander Eli Barnes of the Earth Defense Accord. You were warned." Torvik looked at his crew. "Try to respond. Tell them we come in peace." The communication officer shook her head. "They blocked us. We can hear them, but they can't hear us, or maybe they just don't want to." Then a ship appeared in front of Unity's Light. It came out of nowhere, small, silent, smooth. It didn't look like a warship. It didn't show weapons, but it bent space around it like a storm. Their scanners could not see through its hull. Every system on board started to fail. The human ship didn't fire. It didn't move closer. It just sat there, watching one by one. The rest of the 500 ships disappeared from Torvik's view. He called out to them. No one answered. He checked the nearby screens. Blank, empty. The last thing Unity's Light saw before it too vanished was the small human ship turning slightly. It was as if it nodded. Then everything went black. Back on Outpost K-12, Captain Lavara watched her screen. All 500 ships were gone, no explosions, no wreckage, just dot dot dot. She took a deep breath and opened a small secure channel. She sent a message with one word. Confirmed. Somewhere deep beneath Earth, in a hidden command room, people received her message. No one cheered, no one smiled. They just nodded and returned to their work. Human space had been crossed. The response had been made. And now, the galaxy would begin to understand why no species entered it. Elia Cror woke up inside a cold, white room. Lights above her blinked slowly. Her head ached. Her hands shook. She tried to speak, but her mouth was dry. The room was quiet. Too quiet. She was the only one who came back. The Jalari cruiser, named the Silent Runner, had been part of the large fleet that crossed into human space. Now it was the only ship that returned. Damaged, burned, almost falling apart. Out of all the people on board, Elia was the only one left alive. The Galactic Council sent doctors, scientists, and soldiers. They put her in a special room. She was watched day and night. They hoped she could tell them what happened. But Elia could not speak for 2 days. She only stared at the walls. Her eyes were wide with fear. When she finally spoke, her voice was quiet. They let me live, so I could tell you. The council gathered in a tall hall. Representatives from many species sat around a long table. They looked at the large screen showing images from the Silent Runner. Parts of the ship were twisted. Some rooms looked older than they should be. One corridor had trees growing from the walls. Another looked like it had melted. No one understood what had happened. Elia sat before them, small and shaking. Her hands clutched a blanket tightly. She told them everything she remembered. At first, it was normal, she said. We crossed the border. Our captain thought it was safe. We saw stars, planets, everything looked calm. Then things began to change. One by one, the ships disappeared. No explosions. No warnings, just gone. Her ship began to shake. Lights blinked. Air grew cold. She heard whispers in the walls. They were watching us, she said. Not machines, people. I felt them in my mind. I saw their eyes. She looked around the hall. They let me go, not because they were kind, but because they wanted you to know. After her talk, the council argued for hours. Some said it was fear. Others said it was a trick. A few believed her completely. On the planet Velkar, the Drothians held a secret meeting. They were a strong species, proud of their warships and battle skills. Their leader, General Karn, slammed his fist on the table. We will not be scared by stories, he said. We will send our best stealth ships. Let us see what humans hide. He sent 10 small ships, each one silent, fast, and hard to see. They flew toward human space. They entered quietly. No one knew they had gone. 3 days passed. Nothing came back. On the 4th day, the Drothian homeworld changed. The sun in their sky began to shine brighter. Then it dimmed. Then it moved backward. Time around the planet twisted. People on the surface saw stars falling in reverse. Their buildings turned to dust. Rivers flowed upward. Mountains shrank. The whole planet began to fall apart in silence. In 1 hour, the Drothians were gone. The council could not explain it. Their best minds failed. No signal came from the area. No ship returned. Only a soft wave of energy reached the nearby systems. Silent, empty. Some said it was a weapon. Others said it was something else. Something old. Something hidden. Dr. Melanie Grant, a xenopsychologist who once lived on Earth, was called to speak. She was older now, with gray hair and sharp eyes. You don't understand humans, she told the council. They are not like other species. They don't want power. They want safety. But if they feel threatened, they will never stop. They don't fight to win. They fight to end the threat. The council listened in silence. One young officer from the Ulai asked, "But how can they do this? Their ships are small. Their fleet is not large." Melanie looked at him. "Because they don't show what they have. You see only what they let you." See, a new plan was made. This time, the council sent a message, a peaceful one. They asked to meet. They asked for a place to talk. No ships crossed the line? They waited. 2 days later, they received a reply. It was short. We agree. The meeting place was a planet not on any map. Its name was Haven. A single ship arrived to take the council. Members there, no guards. No weapons. Ambassador Vesha from the Talari Union stepped out first. She looked around. The air was clean, the sky blue. The place looked like Earth, peaceful, quiet. 2 humans stood on a small hill nearby. A woman and a man. The woman wore a dark coat. Her hair was tied back. The man held a small tablet. They smiled. Welcome, the woman said. I'm General Nora Fields. This is Advisor Jonah Reese. We're here to talk. The council members followed them to a simple building. No guards, no signs of fear. Inside, they sat together. Jonah handed them a small data crystal. Watch this, he said. The crystal showed images. Battles from Earth's past. Fights against great enemies, losses, pain, growth. Then it showed new things. Ships that moved faster than light without engines. Weapons that folded. Space. Machines that could build a city in a day. Then came the message. We do not want war, but we will never be victims again. We do not threaten, we prepare. The screen turned off. The room was quiet. Nora looked at them. No species enters human space. Not because they can't, but because they remember. The council left in silence. Back in their own worlds, they told others what they saw, what they learned. And from that day forward, the maps changed. Human space was marked with red lines. Number 1 crossed them, not because they feared humans, but because now they understood them. Captain Daniel Brooks stood on the command deck of the Earth defense ship Horizon Wake. He watched the stars through the main window. His ship was not large. It had no heavy weapons, but it was one of the ships guarding the edge of human space. It was quiet duty. Most of the time, nothing happened, but this time, something was coming. Sir, we have movement, said Ensign Karen Lopez. Her eyes were wide as she stared at the screen. 1 ship, alien design, unknown energy readings. Daniel moved closer. Where is it headed? Straight for the border, sir. It's not slowing down. Daniel gave a small nod. Send a signal, standard warning. Karen tapped her console. A calm message was sent. It warned the unknown ship to stop. It told them not to enter human space. It gave them a chance to turn around. There was no reply. The alien ship crossed the line. They crossed? Karen said. Daniel looked at the screen. All right. Follow protocol. Lock them in the net. Human space was not defended by walls or weapons. It was surrounded by something else. Something humans had built quietly. A web. A net of satellites, sensors, and hidden machines. Together, they could trap any ship without firing a single shot. The alien ship began to slow. Its lights blinked. Its engines flickered. They're caught, Karen said. Their systems are shutting down. No weapons active, no shield. Daniel opened a channel. This is Captain Brooks of the Horizon Wake. You have violated human space. Identify yourself. There was a pause. Then a voice came through. My name is Kalanvar. I am not here to harm. I am alone. I only want to talk. Daniel looked at his crew. Where is he from? Unknown species, Karen replied. Does not match any records? Daniel spoke again. Why didn't you stop when we warned you? Because you would not have let me speak, Kellen said. I have a message for Earth, a warning. Something is coming, something not from this galaxy. Daniel stared at the screen. The voice sounded calm, but there was something in the way he spoke. A kind of fear. Bring him in, Daniel said. We'll take him to Station 9. Kalanvar was brought aboard. He looked strange. Tall and thin, with silver skin and black eyes. His hands glowed faintly. He wore no armor, no tools. He carried only a small cube. He was taken to a secure room. Doctors checked him. Soldiers watched him. Daniel came to speak with him. You say something is coming, Daniel said. From where? Kellen held the cube up. I come from a galaxy that died. My people tried to stop the darkness. We failed. We thought we escaped it. But it followed. He placed the cube on the table. It Lit up, a star map appeared. It showed systems blinking out. One by one, whole stars vanished, planets turned black. This force does not fight with ships, Kellen said. It eats light. It breaks time, it ends all things. Daniel watched the map. It looked like a storm was growing and it was moving toward... Why come to us? Daniel asked. Kellen looked at him. Because your space is different, it stopped me. It holds power my people never had. If anyone can stand against this darkness, it is you. The Earth Defense Council met the next day. Leaders from all Earth colonies and stations joined the meeting. The map from Kellen's cube was shown to all. Some were afraid, others were angry. How do we know this isn't a trap? Asked one general. Because he came alone, said Commander Iris Halle, because his ship had no weapons. And because he was afraid, the council debated for hours. Finally, Earth made a choice. They would prepare. Not just to defend human space, but to face what was coming. Kellen was allowed to stay. He worked with human scientists. He showed them strange tech from his lost world. Things that used gravity like cloth. Engines that sang instead of burned. Ideas that had never touched human minds. Soon, new ships were built. Quiet ships. Strong ships. They were made from earth steel and alien thought. They had no names. They needed none. Captain Brooks was chosen to lead the first test. His ship, the Soul Mirror, launched from a moon base. It slipped into deep space, past stars and gas clouds. It flew toward the outer edge of the galaxy, toward where Kellen said the darkness would come. Days passed. Nothing happened. Then, as they reached the dark zone, their lights dimmed. Sir, sensors are failing, Karen said again. She was still with him, still on his crew. Time is bending. I see two of my hands. Outside, the stars blinked away. One. By one, they vanished. Then something came. It was not a ship. It had no shape. It was a hole in space. A shadow that moved. The Soul Mirror did not run. It turned to face it. The ship's hull hummed with new energy. Human and alien minds working. Together had made something different. Daniel stood at the front of the ship. All systems ready? As ready as we can be, Karen said. They fired. Not missiles, not lasers. Something else. A pulse. A wave of memory, of thought, of Earth. It hit the shadow. The shadow screamed, not a sound. A feeling, pain, surprise it had. Never been hurt before. It tried to pull away. But the Soul Mirror chased it. It pushed the shadow back. Back across the dark stars. Back toward the edge of the galaxy. Then, as fast as it came, it was gone. Daniel leaned back in his chair. Did we stop it? No, Kellen said over the comms. You heard it. You showed it fear. It will return. But now it knows. You are not easy prey. Back on Earth, the council watched the footage. They saw the shadow. They saw the light from the soul mirror, and they made a new choice. They would not wait. Human space would not just defend. It would expand carefully with new ships, with new tech, with new rules, because now they had seen something worse than fear, and they had pushed it back. Now the galaxy would not only understand why no species entered human space. They would understand why nothing should ever try. The shadow was not gone. It had only pulled back. Deep in the edge of dark space, it waited. It had never felt fear before. Never been hurt, but now it remembered the light. It remembered the ship. The pain. It was learning on Earth. Scientists and leaders worked day and night. Kellen Var stayed with them. He shared more knowledge, maps, warnings, thoughts from a world that no longer lived. In a hidden lab under the Rocky Mountains, engineers built new machines. These machines could feel changes in time. They could see things before they happened. They were called Echo Towers. Commander Iris Halle stood in one of these towers. The room was filled with low hums. Lights blinked gently. A screen showed the edge of human space. She watched it every hour. Any signs? She asked. Not yet, replied Tech Officer Nolan. But the system sees something far, movement in shadow regions. Might be nothing, might be it. Iris crossed her arms. Prepare the relay. Contact the Soul Mirror. In deep space, the Soul Mirror drifted near a blue giant star. Daniel Brooks and his crew stayed ready. Their ship had been upgraded again. The walls were lined with a new layer. It was alive in some way. It responded to thoughts, to fear, to courage. Kellen had explained it once. The mind is the first weapon, the body follows. A message arrived from Earth. Daniel read it. Movement confirmed. The shadow is returning, this time not alone. Daniel looked at Karen. She nodded. We expected this. Set course for Relay Point Echo, he said. All systems alert. Back on Earth, the council met in emergency session. Leaders from every colony joined. Their voices were calm but firm. It's coming again, said one. And this time it wants revenge. We must decide, said another. Do we defend? Or do we strike first? Melanie Grant stood up. She was older now, but her eyes were still sharp. We do not start wars. But we finish them, always. The vote was clear. Earth would not wait. They would meet the shadow before it reached human space. They would carry the light to its heart. 50 ships launched. Each one unique, each one born from human and alien minds. These ships did not move with fuel. They bent space. They followed thought. They were faster than anything built before. Daniel's fleet led the way. They reached the dark edge in 4 days. Time flowed differently here. Stars flickered like dying candles. The shadow was there, but it had changed. It was bigger. It had shapes inside it, figures, creatures, maybe echoes of things it had swallowed. Daniel spoke through the coms. This is Captain Brooks. All ships hold line. Fire only when I give the word. The shadow moved. It reached out. It touched one ship. The ship shook. Its hull cracked, but it held. Hold steady, Daniel said. Kellen's voice came through. You must not fear. Fear gives it power. Show it no weakness. One by one, the human ships lit up. They shined. With white and blue light. The same pulse that hurt the shadow before, a memory. A warning. They fired. The light hit the shadow. It screamed again. It bent. It broke, but it did not run. It fought back. Waves of cold and silence slammed into the fleet. One ship vanished. Another broke in half. The rest held their place. Daniel felt his ship shake. He closed his eyes. He thought of Earth, of rivers, mountains, laughter. He sent those thoughts into the ship. The hull responded. It grew stronger. It pushed the cold away. Send the second wave, he said. New ships arrived. Smaller ones, fast. They flew into the shadow. Inside it, they carried light with them. Not just energy, but sound, music, stories, memories. The shadow twisted. It had never seen this before. Not weapons, not hate. But life. It tried to run again, but the fleet followed. They chased it deep into dark space. Past places no map knew. Then they found something, a world, black dead, but not destroyed by time. Destroyed by the shadow. It was Kellen's homeworld. He saw it on the screen. His voice was quiet. This is where we lost. This is where you must win. Daniel nodded. Then we make our stand. Here, the fleet circled the dead world. They planted anchors into space itself. They created a field of light. A trap. The shadow came again, furious, loud, hungry, but this time it found humans waiting. And humans did not run. They stood together, ships side by side. A wall of light and thought. The battle lasted hours, maybe days. Time broke around them. But in the end, the shadow cracked. It tore apart. It vanished, not gone, but broken, pushed back. Held for now. Daniel fell into his seat. His ship was low on power, his crew tired. But they had done it. Status? He asked. Karen smiled. We're alive. We're all alive. Back on Earth, cheers filled every city, every station, every moon base. The fleet returned slowly. Not all ships made it, but most did. The world celebrated, but they also remembered the shadow was not dead. Only hurt, only held. So Earth kept building, kept learning, kept watching. They placed new markers around human space, signals, lights, words in every known language. Do not enter. The spaces watched. But some messages were not warnings. They were invitations to allies, to those who sought peace. Come in peace and we will welcome you. Come in threat, and you will not return. Captain Daniel Brooks stood again on the command deck of a new ship, larger, faster, smarter. It had no name. It didn't need one. He looked at the stars. At the edge where light and dark met, and he smiled. Now the galaxy understood why, and so did the darkness. A full year had passed since the battle near the dead world. The memory of the shadows still lived in every ship, every city, every child born under Earth's stars. But the darkness had not returned. It was quiet now, watching, waiting. Ken. Daniel Brooks had not gone home. He stayed with the fleet. His ship had a new crew, mixed with young recruits and old veterans. Karen Lopez remained at his side. She no longer looked like the fresh officer who once scanned empty space. Her eyes had seen too much. The ship moved near the edge of human space again. Patrol duty, but not like before. Now the fleet did more than watch. It taught. It built. Near the border, they met a new species. Small beings with feathers and wide eyes. They called themselves the Laruan. They sent messages of peace. They brought no weapons. Only music and simple tech. Daniel met their leader on a calm station orbiting a quiet moon. We heard the story, said the Laruan elder, of how you faced the dark. We lost some of our kind to that same thing long ago. We had no strength to fight, so we hid. Daniel nodded. You don't have to hide anymore. If you wish to join our watch, we will help you. The Laruan agreed. They were the first to join Earth's new alliance. Others followed. Some came with fear, some with hope. All of them had heard the same message. No species enters human space without knowing the reason. The borders of Earth's influence grew. Not through war, but through trust. Human tech helped rebuild broken worlds. Ships flew to places left empty by the shadow. Some missions found life. Some found silence. Kellen Var became an advisor to the council. He traveled from station to station, teaching and listening. He had found a new home among the humans. But his mind never forgot his own world. The shadow is learning too, he warned. It was hurt, but it is not done. One day it will test you again. So Earth trained harder. Soldiers learned to fight in ways never seen before. Pilots flew ships with no engines, guided by thought and memory. Engineers made armor that remembered wounds and healed on its own. But Earth's greatest power was not tech, it was unity. Humans stood together now like never before. Not just to defend their homes, but to protect others. In a distant system, a human scout ship found a signal, old, weak, not from any known language. The crew decoded it. The signal was a call for help. From a planet near the Black Edge, Daniel's ship was sent to find it. They arrived at a burned world. Nothing moved on the surface. But deep below the ground, sensors found life. A group of beings trapped for years, waiting. The humans dug through the rock. They broke walls of ash and dust. At last, they reached the survivors. The beings looked like stone, heavy, slow, but still alive. They had lost much, but they still held light in their eyes. You came, one of them said. We thought all was gone. Daniel helped them to the ship. You sent a message, we answered. That's what we do now. They were taken to a human station. Given food, shelter, hope, they told stories of how the shadow broke their skies, how they had sent one signal, thinking no one would hear. But someone did. Back on Earth, more ships were built. Some were no longer made only by humans. Laruan workers added their music. The stone people, called Drayan, shared their knowledge of heat and pressure. Each new ship was a sign of unity, but not all species welcomed Earth's rise. Far on the edge, a group of old empires gathered. They had watched humans grow. At first they laughed. Then they feared. Now they planned. A fleet of these empires came close to human space. They did not cross the border. Not yet, but they sent a message. You are growing too fast, too far. This galaxy was once balanced. You break that balance. Earth replied with calm words. Melanie Grant herself spoke. We do not want power. We want peace. But we will not be stopped. We will not bow. The empires waited, then pulled back. But everyone knew this peace would not last. Daniel was called to a meeting on Earth. The council spoke of the new threat. Of shadows both dark and political. We must be ready, said Kellen. The next war may not come from the shadow. It may come from fear, Daniel agreed. But he also believed in something more. We show strength, he said. But we also show what we protect. Light, life, unity. That is what makes us strong. The council gave him command of a new project. A station built between galaxies, not a base for war, but a place of meeting, a place of warning. The station was called Beacon 1. It floated in the quiet space between stars. It held rooms for every known species, gardens, archives, a hall of voices, where every world could share its stories. At the heart of the station was a light. It never dimmed. It came from a new core, born from Earth science and Kellen's lost tech. The light spoke in waves, to minds, to hearts, a message always sent. This space is watched. Not in fear, but in hope. Daniel stood in the center of the station as the first visitors arrived. Some were old enemies, others were strangers. They came because they were curious, because they were afraid, because they wanted to understand, and they left changed. The station grew. So did the message, and somewhere far, deep in space, the shadow watched too. It remembered the pain, the light, the song of a people who would not break. It would return one day, stronger, smarter, but when it did, it would not face just Earth. It would face a galaxy ready. Because now they all understood, and because one species had chosen to rise, to fight, and to protect the species. No one dared to challenge again. Beacon 1 floated in the deep silence between stars. It had become more than a station. It was now a symbol, a place of peace, a shield, a light for the galaxy. Captain Daniel Brooks walked its long corridors every morning. He greeted workers, diplomats, and travelers. He listened to their stories. He watched how enemies sat at the same table, how songs from one world played in another's hall. Earth had changed. Humanity had changed. They were no longer just a single world. They were now a force of hope, standing between danger and peace. But Daniel knew peace never lasted forever. One morning, alarms rang through Beacon 1. The lights turned red. Ships in orbit locked into formation. Shields rose around the station. Karen Lopez ran to Daniel's side. A new fleet is coming, she said. Unknown origin, 35 ships. Not from the shadow, not from any empire we know. Daniel stood still for a moment. Then he nodded. Send a message, welcome them, but prepare defenses. The fleet came fast. Their ships were black and silent. No signs of weapons, but each one felt heavy, like they carried more than metal. A reply came back. It was short. We wish to speak. One voice, one time, Daniel agreed. He waited in the main chamber. Alone, the room was quiet, the air felt heavy. Then a figure entered. It did not walk. It floated. Its face was smooth, no eyes, no mouth. But a voice filled the room. We are the Farburn. We lived before the shadow. We saw your light. We watched your fight. We come with a warning. Daniel listened. The shadow is not alone, the voice said. It is one branch of something deeper, older. It moves under galaxies. It grows in silence. Your fight has woken others. Some will come to test you, others to join you. Daniel took a deep breath. Why tell us this? Because we once stood where you stand. We failed, we ran, you did not. Now you must choose again. The Farburn left. No more words, no more signs. Their ships turned and vanished into the dark. Karen looked at Daniel. What do we do now? Daniel answered. We keep doing what we always do. We prepare, we protect, we move forward. The Council on Earth met again. Some wanted to stop expansion, to stay inside safe borders. Others wanted to grow stronger, to reach into the dark and find the truth. Kellen Var stood in the center of the room. His voice was calm. You do not fight shadows with fear. You fight with unity, with light. Keep building. Keep teaching. Share what you are. That is your greatest weapon. The vote passed. Earth would continue. Beacon 2 and 3 would be built, deeper in space. Near the old edges, new alliances formed. The Drayan built great walls of stone and flame to guard the old roads. The Laruan sent ships that sang across systems. Humans shared tech, medicine, and memory. Daniel traveled more now. From system to system, every place had its own worries, but also its own hope. In one world, children ran through a school built with parts from 3 different species. In another, farmers used tools made by Laruan music and human steel. He saw the future being built, but danger was never far. One day, a message came from a scout ship near the edge of a quiet system. A world had gone dark, a colony of mixed species. No sign of war, no sign of struggle. Just gone. Daniel led a team to investigate. They found the planet cold, empty. The buildings were clean, the machines untouched. But no life. Karen walked beside him. No signs of attack, no burns, no holes. It's like they were just taken. Kellen scanned the ground. It is worse than the shadow. This feels like hunger, not of the body, but of the soul. They left warning beacons around the planet. Then returned to Beacon 1. More ships vanished in the months that followed. Quiet places, border systems, no signs. No sound. Daniel called a gathering, not just of humans, but of all allies. He stood before them and spoke. The galaxy is wide. Some things are old and dark, but we are not weak. We do not wait for fear to come to us. We go to it together. The great fleets were formed, not for war, but for search, to explore, to find the truth of what hunted in the dark. Kellen led one group, Daniel another. Karen stayed to protect the core systems. She trained the next leaders. The next watchers. Years passed. Beacon 4 was built at the edge of known space. It became the new line, a place of first contact. A first warning. Daniel grew older, his hair turned gray, his voice deeper. But his eyes never lost their light. One day his ship found something strange, a hole in space, a tear. It moved like it was alive. Ships went in. None came out. Daniel sent one last message. If I do not return, do not follow. Guard what we built. Share what we learned. The light must live, always. Then he entered the tier and was gone. The galaxy waited. Weeks turned to months. But no word. Karen stood in the main hall of Beacon 1. She lit the eternal light again. She spoke to the crowd. He may be gone, but we are not. We are still here. The line is still held. The light still shines. Earth continued. The stations grew. The stories spread. The message never changed. No species enters human space without knowing what, not because of fear, but because of what stands there. A force born from one world, a people who once lived in silence, now guarding the stars. And in the quiet beyond the tier, a voice whispered, not yet gone, not yet finished, still watching, still ready.